Okay, so session is now being recorded. So I'd like to, as I say, welcome Eimer along. It's fantastic to have Eimer joining us all the way from Australia, the wonders of technology. So Eimer is a former graduate of Ulster University, and she's very kindly offered to take this session and talk to us about networking. So I'm just going to kick off by just asking Eimer to tell us what you studied and just a little bit about your career journey to date.
Sure. Thanks, Gail, and thanks for the opportunity. It's a good networking event. So I studied business studies at Jordanstown and specialised in marketing. And so my year out was spent in Belfast in Ledu. And after that, I actually got involved in the graduate attachment program at the university as well, and got to work with a small local Northern Ireland company as well. Then I went back and studied, did a postgrad certificate in economics, and thought to myself that it's good to have options. And teaching was a big career in my family, and I certainly had a love of teaching, and I thought always good to have the qualification. Didn't necessarily know whether I would use it straight away or not. What transpired then was an opportunity in the newspaper. It was up in Thornhill College up in Derry, and it was looking for a head of business studies. And I applied for that and got that role. And so I spent a couple of years there. Then from there, I had a few family things that happened, because that's what happens in life. Life happens. And I left Thornhill to be with my family. And after certain instances, then I went to work for Regan Tile Design. And I'm actually, Regan's is a family business as well. Spent 4 fabulous years there, which is a wholesale business. It's still around, but in a different format today. And that's where I really got my hands dirty. I remember actually one of the kids in the school said to me, "Miss, if business is so good, why aren't you working in it?" And I thought, that's an interesting comment. And anyway, so there I was a couple of years later and in the business. And it was a real hands-on role in marketing and operations and sales. And that's a great thing about working in small businesses. You get to do a bit of everything. Then I got the opportunity to go to Australia. Made that opportunity for myself, and got there with no job, really just, get there, see what happens. And with the tile experience and the ceramic experience, then I got to work with Moche Potteries in Sydney, and again a similar sized small business, and that gave me the opportunity to connect with people right around Australia. It was a wholesale business, so we worked with all the large I suppose like B&Q equivalent type of companies, and that was a way of sort of getting to know the geography of Australia. Again, doing many different jobs: marketing, administration, operations, sales. And then I thought, if I'm going to survive in Australia, the company was about 25 people. I thought, I need a bigger network. I need to know more people in order to thrive in this country. So I went into DuPont Australia, which was a segment of DuPont globally, which had employed 60,000 people. So that really, really made a major difference to my network of contacts. And also in the larger organization, I started to specialize, and that's when I got involved in development work and talent management and career development and leadership development and coaching and mentoring and all those things. And so I stayed there for over a decade. And then DuPont, they merged with Dow Chemicals, and so a lot of people in the talent space, it was going to take a 3-year transition for those companies to get settled, and so you don't really need a talent manager when you need 3 years of transitioning. And so I took the opportunity to come out and retrain and refresh and renew, and I'm now running my own private practice of coaching and facilitating. And I work with small businesses in the not-for-profit space. I work with individuals. I work with corporations. I work with individuals really around the world who are interested in developing their potential. And so that's where I am now. You could never plan it, let me tell you that.
That's brilliant. It's really interesting just to hear people's career journeys and how they've ended up where they're at. And interesting to hear how networking has been a big part of your journey along the way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I know that, sorry, we're going to say something there, Eimer.
No, I was just going to say, I'm sure as we go through the presentation, different things will come up of just, the power of networking, how it has worked for me, for sure.
So I know that there was a question. I'm just going to share our blank whiteboard. So I know that you'd maybe like to pose a question just at the outset to the group. So hopefully everybody can see this whiteboard, and you should be able to click on the text function, and I'm hoping that you've all got the ability now to share and post up on this whiteboard. I know, Eimer, you may just want to just pose a question to the group.
Well, it's lovely to be here, and thanks everybody for dialing in. And, in service of being of value to you today, what I'm really interested in is, I know way back then the word networking for me probably might have had a reaction. So what are the challenges of networking for you? What is it that you love about networking? What is it that you hate about networking? Just top of mind, just a couple of things to give me an insight onto, as you're on call today. What do you love about networking? What do you find really challenging? What's confusing for you? Do you know even what it's for? Are you networking already? Is it hard to get started? Okay, great. Having the confidence to reach out without annoying them. Yes, exactly. What else? What's on your mind? What's top of mind? Yeah, that's right. That's right. Every conversation is just a possibility. How to stretch out of my comfort zone? Yep, great. Yeah. Small talk, right. So I'm not sure if small talk is what you're good at or what you don't like. Yeah, but I can relate to that. Culture exchange, yeah, it's exhausting having all those conversations, knowing how to move beyond a conversation with someone. What are the right questions to ask? Yeah. It's likely to be over a webcam. This can be intimidating, knowing how to move beyond, how to connect without necessarily knowing them. Identifying the right person. Yeah. Trying to say the right things. Yeah. Yeah. How to make your LinkedIn profile the best it can be. Yeah, great. Right. Okay. Fear of missing out, but it takes a lot of time. Yeah, exactly. Good old FOMO. Yeah. Okay. Trying to stick out from others. Yeah, that's right. Trying to stand out in the crowd. Brilliant. Okay, well, that's great. Thank you for being so proactive. And, just jump in anytime. Pop your comments in the chat box and Gail read those out. Any questions you have or comments you have. Don't be afraid to challenge me or question me. Take me off my soapbox if need be. So, shall we jump in, Gail?
Yeah, absolutely. I will share this for you now.
So today is really about the inside and outside strategies of networking. So just as we observe where we started, notice that some people were talking about the confidence on the inside, having the conversations, feeling exhausted with the conversations. So for me, that would be all the inside. There's work there to do with the inside strategy. And then for some people, it was about, how do I find the right person to talk to? How do I have the right LinkedIn profile? How do I stand out so that people notice me? So that's very much the outside strategies. So as we jump into this presentation, just keep in mind for you, what is the thing that's going to make the difference for you? What are your networking strategies? What's working? What's not working? What's missing? And is the work for you inside work? Is it outside work? Or maybe it's a combination of both. So we're going to start off with just looking at the inside, unlocking your potential, and then we'll move to the outside, unlocking your network. Now, today we've got lots of different jobs and industries represented today. So you are the experts sort of in that field. And so I'm going to talk more generally, and I'm going to go through at a pretty fast pace to give us some time later for questions at QA. And feel free to reach out to me beyond this presentation if you want to know more, if you have more questions and you didn't get a chance to ask it today or get the level of detail that you wanted today. So networking, what is it? Well, I had a look up to see what the formal definition was, and it tells me that the action or process of interacting with others to exchange information and develop professional or social contacts. The action or process of interacting with others to exchange information and develop professional or social contacts. So one of the things even first up is just to really understand that networking is like a purposeful conversation. It's not actually chit chat. So sometimes when we have that concern about the small talk, if you can get really clear on what is the purpose of the conversation, then you can move beyond what bothers you about small talk, because maybe you don't find small talk valuable, you don't find it easy. And really, in terms of networking, small talk isn't where it is. We want specific talk. We want industry talk. We want to be very purposeful talk. So whether you love it or whether you hate it, why bother with it? And really, it's because you cannot not bother with it. We are human beings. We are humans who relate. That's how we understand the world. That's how we get on. That's how we get things done. So none of us is so independent that we don't need anybody else. So getting along with people, getting to understand people, getting to understand how to find out who are the right people, it becomes a skill. It becomes an art form, really. And the reason why it's an art form is because it's organic. It's really unknown. Before you have a conversation, before you meet somebody, like today, I have no idea what's going to happen today. I have no idea what questions you're going to ask. I have no idea what responses are going to come up. This is a space of possibility. So in terms of networking, maybe the first thing to start for you is to reframe what networking means to you. If it has a negative connotation for you, how can you turn it around to be more meaningful for you? And making it meaningful, I'll talk a little bit more about that later on, but making anything meaningful is really valuable in terms of being able to perform at your best. So also to think about networking, it's not just you. The people you're talking to, they are also networking. They are looking for people. They are looking for talent. In organizations, it is incredibly difficult to find good talent. So sometimes when you're talking to a leader or somebody in the industry or a potential employer, you're feeling nervous because, as somebody said, you don't want to bother them, you don't want to waste their time. It is very valuable for them to find somebody who is passionate about their industry, who's proactive, who's confident, who's curious, who's interested. That's what they're looking for. If you turn up in a networking event, you have saved them so much time and energy, they didn't have to go out and find you. You turned up at the event. If you proactively contact people, they don't have to look proactively to find you, because time is money in organizations to find good talent. And as I was saying to Gail, my brother, he's in recruitment and he's been running his own recruitment practice for, I don't know, over 10 years now. And what he said to me is the number one aspect of getting good people is simply to show up and to do what you say you will do. So let's not make this more complicated than it needs to be. Let's keep it simple. So who's networking with who? And networking, it's all about the who. So I watched a little networking video the other day, and I didn't put the link in the presentation, but drop me a note if you can't find it. If you Google it, it's called The 3 Bones of Networking. And it's a young guy sharing his wisdom about networking. And he talked about the 3 bones. The first bone is the wishbone. So getting really clear about what you want. The second bone is the jawbone. And the jawbone has 2 parts. It's about being competent in what you do, but it's also being humble and having humility as part of the quality of who you are. And the third bone is a backbone. It's the resilience and the persistence to keep going. So I thought that was a lovely little easy thing to remember: the wishbone, the jawbone, and the backbone. So we're looking for, who do we need to connect with? How do we want to connect with them? And what is the information that we want to gain from them or share with them? So let's start on the inside. So anything that's happening in your mind, the 2 key aspects are that you are, as a human being, you are thinking and you are feeling. So these 2 aspects of you is incredible. It's when we think and we think about our thinking, and we feel about our feeling, and we think about our feeling, it begins to show you how absolutely incredible human beings are. So our capacity to think and feel is useful, but it can also limit us. So notice even about networking, notice about your career, notice about how you're thinking about the world right now. What is it that you hold in mind? Do you think that you've got a great future ahead of you? Do you think that the current situation is really tough? Do you think that networking is difficult? Do you find networking exhausting? Do you find it confusing? Do you find it frustrating? Are you full of hopes? Are you full of dreams? Just notice that all of that is happening inside you. These are the different parts of you. So this is really important work for you to do. Networking is about getting the inside functioning as well as the outside. So notice if there's a part of you that's really excited and a part of you that's really frustrated or really anxious. Then the work to do is, how can you get that excited, curious you to come forward? And the anxious, concerned, frustrated you, how can we get that resolved for you? So all of that is the work for you to do. And just notice, it's your mind, it's your emotional state of mind. So therefore, these are 2 of your key internal powers. So your inner responsibility, how can you do this work? Before you even go out into networking events, is actually to sit down, and you've probably done some of this already. You've probably got lots of resources available through the University of Ulster portal, and one-on-one conversations that you've had, or mentoring conversations that you've had. But being able to self-reflect and building your capacity to self-reflect is the number 1 skill that will make you a better person in any job that you do. And as you grow in your career, continuing to self-reflect is a critical leadership skill for all of us. So what do I mean by self-reflect? It's to literally take time out and to sit down and get clarity in your mind about what matters to you. What do you value in your life, in your career? In terms of your career, what's important to you? What are your goals? What are your hopes? What are your dreams? Having run hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of career workshops through the years, getting individuals to do their values checklist, what's important to me, what matters to me. Whenever I was doing evaluations of what was the difference that made a difference, getting clear on their values was a critical part of building a career that will be successful for you. Because when you are driven from the inside out, there are many possibilities for you in terms of jobs. So Simon Sinek, he does the why. You know, what is your why? So if you Google him, or if you've read any of his books, you know, get very, very clear about what matters to you. Now you can do this by yourself, and I have a values checklist that I use with clients. Feel free to drop me an email if you don't have one in your own toolkit. You can sit with your mentor and do this. Sometimes it's easier for somebody to ask you, what's important to you about your career? I want to achieve things. I want to be successful. I want to grow. I want to build my network. Write all that down. Sometimes it's easier to do that with someone else. Do it with a friend, mentor, coach, whatever. So that's the clarity in mind, because confusion will be really apparent on the outside. Once you start to speak at a networking event, if you don't have clarity on the inside, it comes out more confused on the outside. So get clear and do the reflection and the preparation on the inside first. And I'm talking about a resourceful state there, the emotional state that you're in. So you're always in a state. So maybe right now as you're on this call, maybe you're in a relaxed state. Maybe you're in a curious state. Maybe you're in a sleepy state. Whatever it is, you are always in a state. So before you go to a networking event, consider what is a resourceful state to be in. And examples of resourceful states, you know, being curious, open, interested, flexible, adaptable, positive, proactive, all of those states will be resourceful. If you're not in a resourceful state, maybe you're tired, confused, worried, frustrated, at a general level, there are 3 royal roads that can help you change a state. One of them, if you remember a time when you were relaxed, when you were confident, when you were open, when you were curious, remember that time, it comes forward. Imagine a time when you were curious, when you were full of optimism, when you were completely open. Or maybe you know someone who is like this a lot. What would they do if they were you? So model someone. Actually, when I was at uni, there was a girl that I met, and she was the calmest person I'd ever met. And my history was that I used to be a bit of a worrier. And so I asked her, how do you do that? How do you not worry? And she said, well, you can worry if you want to. It's a choice. If you want to worry and you really think it's important to worry, just worry 5 minutes before. Don't worry, you know, the week before, 2 weeks before. But I don't even worry about it at all. It's a choice. So even that framework, it's a choice. You get to choose, is a resourceful state to be in. So with the work that I do in developmental coaching, it really to understand that everything on the inside is driving the outside. So meaning drives performance. So if we look at the axis here, on the left-hand side, we have meaning. So think of something that's very meaningful to you. Think of your studies. Was it meaningful to you? Did you put in the effort? Did you put in the time? Did you put your heart and soul into it? So if it was meaningful to you, you were more likely to give your full attention, to give your time, to give your capacity, to grow your capacity, and you will more likely to perform better. And also, it's more effortless that way. Think of a marathon runner who really, really wants to succeed and achieve a marathon. It's really meaningful to them. They will get up early in the morning, do the running in the rain, in the cold, every day, consistently, eat the food they need to, maybe not socialize, maybe not drink, do whatever they need to do because it is so meaningful to them. And so they're in their sweet spot. So as we're starting out in our career, we can have many hopes and dreams. So notice on the axis there, if you have something very meaningful, but then you're not doing anything about it, it just stays a dream. It's a possibility, but it never gets realized. Equally, if you're somebody who's just go, 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 and you do, and you don't really stop to self-reflect and ask yourself, what does this mean to me? You will do and do and do, and you will make it through your 20s, and you will make it through your early 30s. And then you will probably start to notice that you're tired, and you will burn out because it isn't meaningful enough to sustain you over the longer term. So, we change over time. Our values change over time. If you're on the call today and you're graduated and you are single and you don't have any children, what you value, if I was to ask you, if I met you in 6 years' time and you have a couple of kids, what you value might be different to what you value today. So your meanings will change and adapt over time. And so therefore, what you do and what you want to do and what you want to invest your time in will change over time. So as a mindset, to really notice that a career, it's not static, it's not something, it's not the destination, it's everything that happens along the way. It's a process. Think of it as the longer term. So the inside drives the outside. So do the work on the self-reflection and managing your state. But what about your external powers? How powerful are you? So to complete your own internal network, to integrate and fully realize your potential, you also need to be in control of your external powers. You've got two of those as well. What you say and what you do. So everything that comes out of your mouth is your responsibility. What you say, how you say it, when you say it. If you don't say it, if you don't speak up, that's all your responsibility. Everything you do, how you do it, how you show up as you, what your body language is saying, it's your body, it's your responsibility. So in terms of yourself, getting really clear, what is it that you can do to improve your networking? You can practice how you speak. Just actually, we've got so much technology now. Take your phone, record yourself. You're at a networking event. Somebody says to you, "Hi, Eimer. Who are you? What did you study? What are you interested in?" What are you going to say? Just practice. Practice saying it out loud. Listen to yourself. Listen to what you sound like. Is it easy to understand yourself? Can you hear clearly? How loud is your voice? How quickly are you speaking? This is the beauty of the technology that we have, that you can do this for yourself in your own time. You can video yourself to see yourself, not just even just listening to your voice. What is it I'm just noticing I have this going on, so what is it that you do that may be distracting in a networking situation? So the practice speaking what you want as well, getting really, really clear. So somebody had mentioned earlier about you don't want to waste people's time. And I think that can be really true. So the clearer you can be, the more succinct you can be. And we would call that your elevator speech. If you were in an elevator, if you were in a lift, and you were with somebody who was a potential employer, and you were going from the ground floor to the third floor, what is it in those couple of minutes that you could say that that person would get a sense of who you are and what you're interested in? Really getting well practiced at that. And it might be you write it down, you read it out, and then you practice and practice, and it just becomes so natural for you to do that. And places where you can practice that are places like Toastmasters. When I first came to Australia, I joined Toastmasters for the practice of speaking, for the practice of preparing presentations and speeches, and also for the networking of who goes to Toastmasters. Such a wide variety of people from all sorts of jobs. And the Toastmasters club that I was in, it was held in a hospital. So it was full of people who were working in the hospital. So even, depending on what industry you're in, thinking about where the clubs are and who's going can be a great way to get connected to people who can help you get connected into the industry you're interested in. So what else can you do in terms of your actions and behaviors? You can do the research. You can go online. You can prepare questions that you're going to ask people on webinars. And again, the doing, you can get yourself into a resourceful state. So that's the inside and the outside powers of you. So this is what you can do for you. So really be, starting to pay attention to yourself, that your mindset is not so set. And I mean, this is the work that I do in coaching and facilitating individuals. So it is absolutely normal to have beliefs and hopes and dreams and thoughts and concerns about yourself. But the question now as an adult is this a resourceful thing for me to think? Is this a resourceful way for me to operate? So don't limit yourself by your beliefs. If you think you can't do something, your mind doesn't know the difference between what it thinks and reality. So you are a walking, talking, meaning-making machine. So reframe anything that is not resourceful. So an example might be there's no such thing as failure. It's ongoing learning. Thinking about the backbone, I keep going, I'll find a way. Whatever frames you have in mind are the frames that are going to drive you. Because remember, the inside frames drive the outside. So another big one, and it did come up there about the confidence. Get really, really clear on the distinction between self-esteem, self-confidence, and self-competence. As a human being, you are valuable beyond value. You're esteeming your value as a human being is a given. It never goes up, it never goes down. The moment you came here, you are of value. Now, what does change is your confidence. But your confidence will grow the more experience you get and the more practice you get. And your competence will grow the more practice and experience you get. So having low confidence is actually normal if you don't know how to do something. But just be careful that you don't put on top of that a judgment of yourself. Watch your confidence go up and down, but your confidence has nothing to do with your value. Your value is given, your confidence goes up and down, your esteem goes up and down. As you do new things, get new jobs, learn new things, practice new things, move to new places, meet new people. That's completely normal. Also, from a framework perspective, understand that career is a concept. I didn't even know there was such a thing as a career until I was in my 30s. I was just doing what I was doing. Here's an opportunity. Here's another opportunity. Here's another opportunity. Here are places for me to be me, to meet people, to build my experience, to learn new skills, to do something in the world. And then somebody told me about a career. And what do you want to do in your career? And to have a career and how you build a career. And while that's partially true, just to notice it's a framework. So don't take it too seriously. Play with it. This is playtime. You have worked so hard. You have so much competency. You have so much potential. Choose what you want to do. And if you don't want to do it, don't do it. This is your life. This is your world that you're creating. So it's playtime. There is work to be done, but use the framework of it's playful. So who you are is not what you do. Fundamentally, keep developing you. This is like a two-legged process. You're developing you as a human you, and then you're developing the professional you that is building the capability to succeed in certain roles in certain industries, and just to be able to see the distinction between the two. So you want to be a responsible adult. So the responsible means you've got the capacity to pause, to see, to notice, and to choose. And if you're noticing that you're reacting, that's just showing you the work that's still to do. As an adult, as you grow, as you develop, you have the capacity to be able to respond to situations, not react to situations. This is where your ongoing network of support through mentors, coaches, and your peers can really support you to grow all of you up. So as I finish there on that part of it, that's really just unlocking your potential. A fully integrated you know what matters to you. You know how to manage your emotional state, you know how to express yourself, and you have and are continuously developing personally and professionally. So as you hear that for yourself, just, what's clear for you, anything there that highlights this is the work for me to do. Because when we move to the next section, which is about the external network, who can help you do this internal work? Who are the people who can support you? Now you're getting clear on what information you want to exchange. So in terms of unlocking your network, so this is really who. And in Northern Ireland, the most beautiful thing is that we know so many people. We are just, one step removed from the person that we need to be connected to. So, map your network. From a family perspective, I have about 44 cousins. So before I even knew what a network was, that was just how I did things. Which one of my cousins knows somebody who can help me get to talk to somebody that I need to talk to? So somebody was asking there about how to make the most of your LinkedIn. So I just noticed that my cousin, who's in digital marketing, posted something about how to maximize your LinkedIn profile. And I was reading that she said, if you want to post on LinkedIn, post between 7 and 9 a.m., post between 2 and 2 p.m. and after 4 p.m. and not so much at the weekend. And she also said that the research has been done and that the key attributes that employers are looking for, they want people who are adaptable, positive, resilient, proactive, and confident. So they are the internal, the qualities of the human being that they're looking for. So that's, I think it's Digital 24, Nave Taylor, Google and have a look at her tips for LinkedIn. So how to get started. You may have done this already. Literally for me, I'm not so much a digital native, but you could get an Excel spreadsheet or you could just get a piece of paper. I did this the other day for myself. I just wrote down who in my family could help me professionally, who could help me personally, who do I know from school, who do I know from university, who are the people I have worked with, who have the people I knew through Toastmasters, who are all the people I have met through all the courses that I've been on, who do I know socially. And I've looked at all of those and I go, okay, who could I call tomorrow? Who would I need to be really, really clear about before I would ask them because I don't know them so well? So map out your entire network. Who do you know now? Who are you already connected to? Who's your next door neighbor? Where do you get your hair cut? Who do they know? Who's your dentist? Who's your gym instructor? Everybody knows everybody. So you want to now just get that front and center about who knows who. So get clear on what do you need to know and who knows that. Where do you want to go and who has gone there or who is there already? And what do you need to do and who's doing that or they have already done that? And map that in your network. So that's where you are now. So that's your current network. Now we need you to map it and evolve it. And this is a lifetime evolution. So even being on this call today was a network where I'm in the alumni of UUJ. Once Facebook was created, my class of 1990, I think it was, we are on a Facebook group. And reconnecting of what are they doing, helping each other, who needs jobs, who needs to be connected to who's coming to Australia, who's, whatever it is, they will be the networks that are valuable for you. So take the lead. If somebody hasn't set it up already, you set it up. Whenever I left DuPont, and many people got lost their jobs because of that merging, I set up a group called the DuPont Oval. So I called it Beyond the Oval. I set that group up. It's still going today. And most people who lost their jobs in DuPont, I can tell you now, they got their next job through their networks. They didn't get it through recruitment agencies. They didn't get it by writing letters. They got it by talking to people who were talking to people who were at barbecues who said, oh yeah, my wife works at that company. Let me talk to her. Why don't you go and have a chat with her? It's fundamental. So building your network. Think of 2 channels. Developing you personally. So what do employers want from you? So on the left-hand side, just look at some of those words there. Be on time, be efficient, be effective, be committed, make decisions, communicate, get on with people, be flexible, be adaptable, be proactive. So it doesn't matter if you've done a degree in photography, environmental science, law, business studies. These are the qualities that all employers are looking for. So these need to be developed in you. It's a never-ending process. So, do you want a mentor to help you personally develop your communication style, how you get on with people, how you can look at how you manage your time, how you see yourself? Are you particularly rigid in your mindset? Are you very detailed and you find it difficult to be more open and strategic? Whatever it is, who can help you? So who's in your current network? Who's supporting you in this? Who do you need? Where are these people? What are you going to ask them for? And when are you going to ask them? So back to your networks. If you can be really clear, I'd love you to be my mentor. I'm having trouble with my communication skills and my confidence. Would you be happy to have, 4 or 5 conversations with me to help me see, maybe how I'm struggling and learn and practice together. So the clearer you can be about what you want to exchange with them, the more likely they will be to say yes. Honestly, in my experience, most people I've ever asked to help me have said yes. So personal development, these days, self-development. You can go on, there are millions of courses. LinkedIn has millions of courses. There are so many things like Harvard Business Review. Whatever industry you're in, there will be free resources for you. And University of Ulster, full of fabulous stuff. And as Gail was saying, all the networking events, go to as many as you can. If there's a difference between sitting at home and watching the television, go to a networking event. It's how to get the most value out of your time. So talking about time, keep going. Professional you. So really, really key. Practice is underrated and performance is overrated. Practice, practice, practice. So professional development is where can I get practice? And this is why it's sometimes hard to get started. You're looking for the experience. So, can you shadow somebody? Can you volunteer? Can you just have a mentor that you can hang out with and talk to regularly? Is there somebody in your family? Is there somebody in your neighborhood? Getting really clear, what are the competencies you need to succeed in your industry, in your job, in your role? Who are the key players in the industry? Are you connected to them? Are you following them? Are you speaking to them if you're in networking events? Are you really educating yourself about the industry that you're in? How do they monitor the industry? How do they report the industry? Is the industry thriving? Is it struggling? What's the future of that industry? Is it becoming more automated? Is it becoming more global? Is it becoming more specialized? My partner is a digital health professional. There are 50 people in the world that are a global network of digital health specialists at that level. 50 people in the whole world. So we can go anywhere in the world and he will be able to say, oh yes, let's talk to John. He's here. He's a digital health specialist. So depending on what industry you're in, the difference between a digital health person and a digital marketer, you may be in an industry where there's millions and millions and millions of people, and you got to work out, are you interested in your Northern Ireland network? Are you interested in an international network? Are you interested in a specialist network? What are you interested in? It's all up to you. It's all available to you. I'd really encourage you as well to think about give and take. Make sure that you're not just taking and getting when you're networking. Think about what you're giving. Are you giving your time? Are you giving your attention? Are you asking good questions? Are you sharing your network with other people? Are you being generous? So that can be a big one, where I know there's a lot you want to get, but also in my experience, the more I give, the more I've got in return. And then finally, really, as an integrated network. So the top two ones, what my perspective on what I'm doing, this is you knowing your perspective and knowing what you can do. And the bottom two is the groups. Who do I need to be connected to? And what is happening in the system, in the industry, in technology, in the law? Look at what's a global pandemic. That's bottom right quadrant. So using this as a little checklist for yourself, are you thinking like this? When you think about networking, are you looking at it in this way? That would be a more integrated, holistic way to think about networking. And as your peers and as the people who are the industry professionals are coming to talk to you and talk with you, They will have their perspectives. So these are questions to ask them. What matters to them about the industry? What do they think about the future of the industry? What are they concerned about? What are they studying? What are they doing? Who are they connected to? And to see that you are so much more than just the job that you do. You know, one of the vice presidents in DuPont that I worked with, I remember he came down to Australia to be involved in one of the leadership programs. And, you know, the weekend before he came, he was telling me like he had a huge, huge job and huge responsibility. But he was telling me about he had been out in the mountains with his kids cycling on the Saturday before he came, and he had been cooking up some sort of soup, da 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 da. So, you know, when you are developing, you develop all of you. You want to be a whole person, not just thinking all the time about the work that you do and developing that of you. So that is a whirlwind tour of thinking about inside strategies and outside strategies for networking for you. So we've got a few minutes. We maybe don't have a huge amount of time for questions, but we could open up the whiteboard to even just get a sense of, if there was one for you, what is the difference that will make a difference in networking for you, considering the information here today? Something that maybe a reminder that you already knew, something new that you want to do. Is it inside work to do? Is it outside work to do? Over to you, and open to any questions too.
I just started the ball rolling there with, that's something that just struck me there at the end as well, about remembering to always be giving as part of that networking.
Yeah, and even just like giving your time. So, you know, for example, if you're in a meeting, you can say, listen, I'll do the minutes. I'll keep the time. I'll get the coffees. I'll meet people at the door. You know, it's those sorts of giving are equally, like, I'm not talking like huge things. It's just little things. Yes, absolutely. They are interested in you. They are talent spotting, knowing more about the industry. Working out what I want to gain. Yeah, get what's valuable to you. Purposeful conversation, building the capacity to be able to respond. Yeah. Talk about topics. Yeah. Volunteering in different companies. Yeah, absolutely. Any work that you can do. You know, one of my current clients was somebody that was running an evening information session, and I said to her, listen, that sounds like a very busy thing for one person to do. Do you want me to meet people at the door and give them their badges and sign in? And she said, that would be fantastic. And after that, she gave me a job. Honestly, it's the simple things. And also for my goals, yes, this is your life, this is you. Yes, the career lattice and ladder. Yes, that's another good one. In historically, we were looking about getting higher, getting more money. So in many times in my career, I've taken 5 steps back and got 10 steps forward. You know, I've jumped out of jobs and had no money. I've had lots of money. I've had a little bit of money. It's never, ever about the money. The joy is never in the money. Do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. Figuring what I want. Yeah. And there's so many books about the inside, you know, what matters to you. Do that work. It's a framework. Yes, it's playtime. It's playtime. Research the events. Don't put pressure on yourself. Absolutely. And another little quote I had there is, be you. You know, sometimes that quote is given to Oscar Wilde. Be yourself. Everybody else is already taken. There is no one like you. So don't try and be somebody else. Just be you. Placement employers to build a network. Absolutely. Sit down. You will be absolutely amazed when you sit down and write down who you know. Even look at your Facebook contacts. Write down your Facebook contacts, but think of them now in a different way. Who do they know? And, you know, again, getting and giving.
Hi, Eimer. I see there's a question just coming into the chat box there, and I know we are out of time, so we'll try to wrap this up for everybody really shortly. What would be a good piece of advice to say to graduates in such a uniquely challenging job climate? It's hard to stay motivated and hopeful at the moment.
Yeah. So, you know, it was nothing like a global pandemic, but I came out in a time when it was a recession. So what I would say to you is, remember that hope or worry or anxiety, it's all an inside job. So use a resourceful frame, and there are always opportunities. So look around. I'll give you an example. A couple of elite athletes in Australia, because the Olympics were cancelled, he was on the phone and they were asking him, what are you doing now? And he says, I'm in Woolworths and I am helping them work out the logistics within their store. So, you know, you do whatever you need to do now. Find an opportunity to do something of value for you. There are a lot of people who need a lot of help. That will help you with your personal skills to relate, to communicate, to make decisions, to be organized, to be effective, to be, you know, to be efficient. So maybe for now you might be really focusing on your personal development skills. Be at home and just study and learn and grow. And if you've got a mentor with you, UJ, you know, book in, you know, a lot of sessions. Use the resources that are available to you now. So that's what I would say. Whatever is happening is just stay awake and notice what's available to you now.
Right. Well, look, I'm conscious of our time. Oh, there's another question. Well, we maybe will, if there are quite a few questions, we'll take, I'm just not sure, people may have to drop off, but that's okay. So hi, Eimer, I'm hoping to emigrate next year to Australia. What is the most common used networking platform there? Is it LinkedIn?
Yes, it's a great place to start, and you know, maybe just message me. I've got my email there, or even if there's some questions, Gail, like you could just, you know, pop the questions and we can pop them up somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, because thank you so much for your proactivity today. So that's what I would say. No problems here. You know, there's proactive you.
Could you say again the name of the LinkedIn resource, Eimer? Was this the
LinkedIn resource? So that was Neve Taylor, Digital 24. And the nice little TED Talk video was three bones of networking. Just was a very quirky little thing to, you know, that's, you know, when you talk about now, that's the backbone, the resilience. Just keep going. You know, you are the future. I am very excited about the future that you're all going to create.
Okay, thank you so much, everybody. As I say, if there are any questions, I know that Eimer has already said, you know, she's happy for you to get in touch. Just before everybody does drop off, I just want to say a big thank you to Eimer. I know that I've made so many notes through that as well. And I know that Eimer has put these slides together, bearing in mind that it's something that can be circulated to you after, so that there are materials there to review. And it's such an approach to networking as we prepare to go into these networking events, actually thinking about taking time to think about that inside as well. I think that's an approach, as we have talked about networking, we maybe haven't really thought of that so much and taken the time to really review that. And I love that idea of reframing and the framework and how we are approaching these networking events, particularly bearing in mind the circumstances we find ourselves in, and how do we reframe our mind and reframe this so that we are taking that playful approach and taking the positive approach towards networking. So just as you are going into the networking events over the next few days, I know that a lot of you have signed up for events. It's just taking all this learning and applying that. So looking up the speakers before you go to the event, thinking about what it is that you want to ask them, what is it about their story or their company, doing around that, but not forgetting about all that inside work as well, and thinking about you and where you're at. So look, I just want to say a massive thank you to Eimer, and I know that I have got so much out of that. This is something that you never really stop developing at any stage of your career, so I have got a lot out of that too. And as I say, this is available as a recording, and we also, I know Eimer has kindly said that you can share the slides as well and review them after this session. So they'll be available too. So look, I just want to wrap this up. Is there anything finally that anybody would like to say, or if there's anything, Eimer, that you would like to say in closing?
No, nothing in particular. All good here.
I just want to say thank you. Don't want to take up anybody's time. Yes, we've one more. We'll allow one more thing. Oliver, go for it. He's keeping us waiting. When it comes to volunteering, when would be a good time to get in contact after lockdown? I'm not sure you meaning with a particular, I assume here you've got a particular organisation or company in mind. Do you know if they're active at the minute? I would say there's lots of opportunities at the minute for volunteering. As Eimer said, you know, there's lots of people out there requiring help. I'll maybe follow this up. Yeah, go for it.
I think it's like, you know, rather than go direct, it's like if you know somebody who knows somebody, get us, like what you're trying to do is you're trying to get a sense of what's happening in the culture right now. And for any business, or not any business, but just any job, any industry, you know, you want to ask the question, what do they need? What would be valuable to them? And then see if you can bring that value to them. And you might not be able to, but maybe you know somebody who could be valuable to them.
I'll maybe follow that up with you after, Oliver, just even to, I know you've got a specific company in mind there, so we'll maybe have a wee chat about that after. But look, thank you so much, everybody, and we will say bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Take care.